And so, I was upset when they first had the merger that Dante didn't get invited. So, this next year I went and lobbied. I said, look, my son's obviously one of the better players on the team. I think he deserves to move up. I think he deserves an invite. So we go to tryouts, and they have 2 fields. And they have the kids over here who they're really looking at. The coaches are looking at them, evaluating. And then they just have the field over here, people. And Dante's on the well, what he calls a scrub field.
Right.
Never gets to go over to the other field. So, after tryouts, that was the only time that I was really worried that he was going to quit soccer.
Oh.
I mean, players can tell when they never have a shot.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I've heard that from kids. At times they'll say, I went to tryouts, but no one looked at me.
Yeah. I wasn't mad that he didn't make it. If he goes out and he doesn't make it, he doesn't make it.
Right.
That's fine. But it was obvious he was, one thing our club pretty much knows who they're going to pick before the tryouts. They just have tryouts basically to satisfy the parents. If the truth be known. And it's probably better that way if they're truly looking at players throughout the year.
Right. But, that's the key. It makes it tough for new kids coming in.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It does make it tough for new. Now you're such a big club, and that might not be as much of an issue. But around here, there's a lot of clubs in a very small area. I mean, which makes it tricky in its own regard because you probably got, good clubs. We've talked about this before. I give you a hard time about Jersey. This is a good area for soccer.
Yeah.
And you get, one of our rival townships, get ready for this, Buford. Their high school team is number 2 in the nation. We play their club all the time. We've had some battles with them. Their club team, our age, we always saw was very dirty. But, and our high school, it's been a few years, they're terrible now, but they're not that far removed from 5 straight state titles.
Okay.
So within that area, you've probably got 10, 15 other clubs. So it's a little different. So you're always getting new kids coming in is what I was getting at in terms of trying out. So it makes it tricky.
At our age group now, I'm finding out that we're getting more and more new kids because, our club is very good at selling the
dream
idea that, because we're the behemoth that, is going to come here and, every soccer coach in the nation is going to look at him.
Right.
But I won't badmouth anybody tonight. But they're very good at selling that. So we, at this age now, we're getting a lot of people. But back a couple of years ago, Dante had told me he was quitting soccer, and it was a struggle to get him back mentally for about 2 days. Dante loves soccer, and he couldn't stop. He couldn't quit if he wanted to.
Right.
So he came back, but so we go next year, and like I said, I was just ticked off. But sometimes when you have adversity, it turns out way better than you thought.
Right.
His coach last year was his high school coach. So and they really hit it off. So and he's a good coach. He doesn't coach club anymore because he's the athletic director of the school this year.
Okay.
But I wish he was his club coach again.
Right.
But
Careful there. Somebody might see this. You don't want his current coach to say.
Well, I don't even know his current coach. We're in the National League this year. That's a whole nother whole nother thing. But
that's a crazy subject too.
So last year Dante made his biggest improvement that he's ever made, and we had a game back in February, I think it was. It was about 35 degrees and raining sideways, just miserable game.
Right.
And Dante came off the pitch and he was like, "Dad, I played terrible." And I thought he played great. They moved him to defensive mid. That was the first game he played defensive mid. And, it took him a little while to get adjusted, but I thought he did great. And that night when we got home, the DA coach called and said, "Hey, we saw your son, and, we think he can play at a higher level." And my first reaction was, "Well, duh." That's what I've been telling you.
That wasn't the out loud reaction, though, right?
No. Well, fortunately, he talked to my wife.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's good.
I let her deal with all that. The club, every coach kind of runs when they see me coming.
Well, he's still there, so he can't be that bad.
Yeah, they allow me to come to games. But so the DA coaches called him, and the next day he went and played in the scrimmage, and that's kind of how we got to tryouts this past May, and now he's playing in the magical Elite Classic.
Yes.
When
do we throw Premier into that? Isn't there an Elite Premier Classic? Come on.
Well, the Premier team he's on the 04 Elite, and the team below that is the 04 Premier.
Oh, okay.
So we're above.
So Elite's above Premier.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. See, I would have thought with the English Premier League that a Premier would be above Elite, but okay. You're like, I don't know, I don't care.
Not really. I don't. But
as long as he's developing and challenged, right? I mean, that's what matters, and that's the trick sometimes.
He's playing with some pretty strong players. All of those guys, 11 of them played ECNL last year.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you want to get into, we're in a gap year. We're U16. So, DA goes from U15 to U17.
I wouldn't even know where to start because I don't understand why there's a gap year there anyway.
I don't either.
Does that make sense?
I asked that question. I'm like, why do they play DA and then all of a sudden you got to go from U15 to U17?
It just causes chaos.
Over half of the boys aren't going to be able to play with the older boys and make the DA team.
Right.
So, but
I mean, the only thing, and maybe they don't allow it. The only thing I could think you could do that I would try and do is if I was a coach, is I would take my team that's U16 and just play them at U17, because otherwise it's chaos. It's like you said, if there's already a team an age ahead, then what do you do with that team? I mean, what do you do with them? You disband the team and then they go elsewhere, and then what the next year?
Well, what our club did was they took the DA kids that didn't make U17 and combined. They've got a combined DA ECNL team, so they're playing in the ECNL league, but they're also rostered as developmental DA players. So they play like, the Atlanta United's developmental players and DC United's players. They fly here and fly there.
But then to do that, they're replacing kids that were on that team, right? I mean, you have to.
Yeah, so that's why 11 ECNL players are on our team.
I'm getting dizzy.
But the good news is when we go back up, next year when we go to U17, and it'll be Dante's junior year, right, he's got an excellent shot of making either the ECNL or DA team. But I know you hate to hear this, but even if he was offered DA, he would probably turn it down.
To play high school?
Yes.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yes.
Because my heart a little bit. Although, I got to say, though, that's actually one where I don't know if that does hurt my heart, because I'm not a huge fan of DA and how they've set things up. So, DA high school, I don't know. I mean, I think the whole thing, I've been negative about high school in terms of the quality of soccer and players that want to go to a higher level.
Oh, yeah.
I understand the social aspect. Believe me,
High
I
school
get it.
can be a shit show now.
Yeah, I try to be objective, and I understand the other reasons for high school, which is why I think if you want to play at a higher level, high school's not your best bet. I don't think the U.S. Soccer Federation. I'm gonna have no career now in soccer. I don't think they have the right to say if you're going to be a DA team, you cannot play high school soccer, right? I think you should choose not to if you really want to achieve, but I don't think a league should dictate that to these kids.
Yes.
So,
especially since, in North Carolina, club soccer shuts down for high school season.
Right.
Right. Except, all exceptions, except for National League, which we're playing now. And that's a whole nother story. We play games, but we do no training. So
just another weird, that's tough too.
Yes.
And
so there's no chemistry with the team.
Right.
And like Dante is really an outsider because he was the only one who moved up to play on this team. Most of these guys moved down.
Oh, right. Okay. So a lot of them have been together though. They've played.
Yes, they've been together, and they actually went to ECNL Nationals last year.
Wow. Okay.
And lost at Nationals. I mean, they were really good.
Wow.
But
yeah, that makes it.
I'm getting ready to get off topic, but another thing that I've just been dying to say that I've held in this whole club season. But I thought that when Dante got on this team with the ECNL players, I was worried that they were going to be so much more advanced than him,
right?
So much better. I thought that he was really going to struggle, and I was totally wrong.
Good, right? Good.
I mean, yeah, that's good for him, but it just seemed a little disappointing to me that these are supposed to be like the top players, and I guess maybe I just thought, well, these guys are, Dante's going to have to just scratch and claw to even keep him on the team.
Right.
And
well, I think you've hit on something that's kind of a problem with U.S. soccer in general and this is my guess. I don't know. This is maybe what you saw. This is what I see a lot when we play higher level teams is it's not soccer that is the difference. It's athleticism. You know what I mean? It's you're playing teams that are bigger, stronger, faster, and they dominate you for that reason because at, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, whatever, it's not – the soccer isn't good enough to completely offset a really superior athletic advantage. And I think, and that's a problem because that's what we end up seeing at the top level, right?
Yes.
U.S. soccer at the top level has some really good athletes, right? It's not the athleticism that's the problem. Even on the women's side, they're just such superior athletes growing up here and playing. That's why they dominate. Yeah. So I know what you mean, and I think that goes back into a whole nother thing with how we coach the win too young and everything because. Oh, that kid's big, strong, fast. Let's put him up top or her up top. And if the ball comes near you, kick it. Eventually, we're going to run one down and score. And that's that whole dynamic. Even good coaches sometimes do some things to win because they feel the pressure of too many parents that are, well, if we're not winning, I'm going to this other club 10 minutes down the street.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
I said, around here, there's so many of them. So it's everybody. It's all the adults that
absolutely
cause that problem.
If I'm being honest, at a young age when Dante first started, that's how I was. But I didn't know any better.
Right.